I know Henry Kissinger does not come out very well in the opera. In fact, we were just talking before, and Peter was reminding me that Kissinger gets to say 2 words in the whole opera, which is the ultimate form of damnation. But let me just ask this. He did something quite significant, did he not? So in your opera, is he a hero, or what is he? And is Nixon a hero? And these are not 2 of your favorite people.
Well, I think on lists of people's favorite people, those 2.
But you did an opera about them. You must have
I
found
think the
something.
most important thing is Alice Goodman, the librettist, said very beautifully later. And to me, it's one of the reasons we do art, not just talk shows on television, is ultimately a kind of compassion has to take over a longer view of history. And you have to look more deeply and stop judging everyone. And for me, opera is a world of judge not, that ye be not judged. And John and Alice did what I think Mozart does in his operas, which is give the best music to the worst people. You know, actually allow everyone to be eloquent and recognize that people are not just who you think they are or how you judge them, but there are many, many more layers that go beyond your judgment or any of our judgment. And what's more interesting than judging people is to understand them and explore and search and see what is motivating them, what is going on behind the scenes.
And what they actually accomplish and leave behind.
I should say to everybody, the opera, John Adams' music and Alice Goodman's words have not changed across 25 years because they are classical. And they stand the test of time, and multiple reinterpretations, they stay absolutely strong. But of course, what I've done is change the staging as each new, now there are histories of the Cultural Revolution. Mao's doctor wrote a book detailing the nightmare, strange, orgiastic life in the Forbidden City in Mao's last years. And there's so much detail that now we have, and I've tried to put some of that on stage to really reflect what we had no idea of in the mid-'80s when we were working on this piece. Because the history itself of China, we look at completely differently. And even a conversation with China is, as you said, next week we have another presidential visit, and now the Chinese will tell us about the value of the American dollar. And Nixon was going over as the guy holding all the cards, our steel industry and our weapons industry couldn't, was so vastly superior to theirs. And now we have a slightly different picture, a very different picture. And certainly the economics, because when we wrote this piece, it was going to be which economic system will prevail, the communist or the capitalist. And Nixon is trying to lecture China, Mao every once in a while on these topics. And Mao keeps responding rather gnomically. But of course, all of those references now mean a completely new set of things. John Adams' body of work is very important in the history of opera because the history of opera was always Monteverdi, Mozart, Mussorgsky, putting on stage something that was unimaginable at the moment they put it on stage. Because the music is disarming. You go with it. You're very moved by it. It moves you. And also, it touches, what music does is touches some idealistic core of your being, where even the greatest cynic has not given up hoping. And why we just go and listen to music to create the space that our lives don't have. And I think that's what John Adams does, is create music that is engaging, up to the minute, on the beat, insist that you're wide awake, but also gives you the capacity to dream again. Nixon in China is not allowed to be performed in China, my production at any rate, because of all the sex. Because we just have a lot of sex on stage. And a lot of it is involving Mao, and that is not allowed. That will not be permitted in public at all. And I I mean, it's historically accurate. In fact, if anything, I've softened it. I've toned it way down.
Obviously, if you took that out, maybe you'd have something that was presentable enough in China, but that's not something you would do.
Me personally, I don't think I'm willing.
Yeah.
And I think, to me, that's going to be one of the tests. To me, culture remains one of the last tests of the Chinese government. You know, we were talking about Ai Weiwei, and really complicated situation in which the Chinese government can show itself as willing to go quite far in business, in certain political things, ecologically. This government, you can talk to them, and they are quite far-reaching and in some ways quite visionary at the moment. And very impressive. But the soft spot, the vulnerable spot, the pinched nerve continues to be culture.